A school district reportedly gives white privilege training to teachers. So, in the story, it basically says San Diego Unified School District is forcing teachers to attend white privilege training, in which teachers are told, you are racist, and you are upholding racist ideas, structures, and policies. The training begins with a land acknowledgement, in which the teachers are asked to accept that they are colonizers living on stolen Native American land. Unbelievable. This is anti-white racism. Full display. This is racism. A little bit more, it goes into it saying that the teachers are then told that they will experience guilt, anger, apathy, and closed-mindedness because of their white fragility. That book title, I'm sure you recognize that one there. After watching clips of Robin DiAngelo and Ibram Kendi, the trainers tell the teachers, you are racist, you are upholding racist ideas, and that you must commit to being anti-racist in the classroom. Now, I'm going to stop right there really quick because I hate this idea that they say, okay, well, if you're white, you are automatically racist, right? And then they say, you must then say and kind of profess to being anti-racist. But by doing so, you're admitting that you're a racist. Like, just even entertaining this idea is, in their eyes, considered as being a racist. They don't care. You can't just say, hey, look, I'm not racist. Like, what do you mean? It's like, no, you have to admit that you're a racist and then say that you are anti-racist. But you have to deem yourself as being a racist first. This is what I hate about this left-wing, crazy racial types of ideas. It's literally their religion. It is. Because it's like the sin in Christianity. But see, we have Jesus Christ that is able to cleanse us of our sin, that we can be forgiven, right? With this ideology, there's no forgiveness because you're basically saying, I'm a racist. I'm guilty of that, and there's no forgiveness for it. And by even saying that I'm anti-racist, you're still a racist because you're saying that you are. You're just like, well, I'm a racist, but I just don't like racism. Like, but I'm still one. It's got to be the most backwards ideology that I've ever seen. They said they must submit to the new racial orthodoxy. I mean, this is sounding like a religious text here. The teachers are told that they are a part of an oppressive white power structure. The trainers claim that white people in America hold the most power and that white teachers have the ability to thrive that is being preserved at every level of power. Finally, teachers are told that they must become anti-racist activists. They must confront and examine their white privilege. See, there's a problem. They say that, okay, well, you have to be anti-racist, but that means that you need to confront yourself as being a racist in the first place. And then it says that they acknowledge when they feel white fragility and teach others to see their privilege. They must turn their schools into activist organizations. This is critical race theory right here. This is exactly what that is. Being crammed down into the schools. And we've seen remnants of this. But the fact that they're forcing teachers to do this and starting with kids that shouldn't even be concerning themselves with these types of issues is very, very scary. Very scary. It has infected itself into schools, into culture, into so many avenues. It's absolutely insane how deep this type of ideology goes into our culture today. If I were them, I would be filing a lawsuit for racial discrimination. You can't teach this stuff. Not only is it a lie, but the other problem is that if you say even anything remotely bad about a person that's black, then all of a sudden you're going to get fired. They don't care. It's not equality. What it is the standard leftist tactic of putting people down in order to lift people up. That's not equality. It's not saying, here's the standard by which we all can achieve, which anybody here can achieve. And You just need to achieve it. But anyone can obtain this goal. They don't believe in that. They don't believe in a meritocracy, in the idea that anybody is able to achieve what they want to achieve. They believe, nope, you're predisposed to these things. I mean, I'd love to see the kids that are in there that are probably thinking, what are you talking about? My family's poor and I'm white. Or the black person in there that's like, my family's rich. What are you talking about? Because you can't lump everybody into these groups and just make all of these ridiculous assumptions and just teach it as fact to the teachers. And then say, you must become an activist against racism. But you have to admit that you're a racist before you do that. Unbelievable. This is racism no matter what color the person is. I don't care who it's coming from. Anything that is talking about somebody being greater or lesser or whatever it may be is racism. Why is it racism, you may ask? It's racism because this ideology is exactly the same as anyone that's white supremacist. The maybe 10 or 15 people that are actually in the world that are today. They want the exact same thing. They both believe that white people are better and black people are worse. That's essentially what they both believe. The difference is that the left is going to try and virtue signal all of this and pretend as if it's like some woke fantasy by saying, well, as long as you're admitting it and you're anti it, dude, you either believe everybody's equal or you don't. That's it. Any exceptions to those rules when you're classifying people by skin color is racism. I don't care what you say. I don't care how you say it. That's what it is. Anybody can achieve whatever it is that they want to achieve, generally speaking. But you can't, regardless, lump those people in a class of race because it doesn't matter. That's the least important thing about any given person on the earth. Your sporting ability doesn't have anything to do with it. Your ability to learn something in class doesn't have anything to do with it. People are born at different socioeconomic levels all the time of any type of race. So when they hear stuff like this, a lot of those people that are outside of their bubble just don't understand what in the world they're talking about because it doesn't apply to normal people that are living normal lives that are separated from this. So in the same light, Chicago Teachers Union deletes tweet claiming school reopening push is rooted in sexism, racism, and misogyny. This is once again just turning something that has nothing to do with that into some crazy left-wing ideology. You know, minority parents are actually suing in California, saying that virtual learning has left their children behind, which makes pretty good sense, considering the fact that the parents that are going to be hurt the most by schools being closed are ones that are low-income families, families where the parents need to work, where those kids need school. Some situations require that those students are maybe their only meal in the day comes from school. People oftentimes forget that school is extremely important for some students, where they were getting free meals, where they were getting a place to be at during the day. That being gone is detrimental to their education experience. It's detrimental to their learning experience, just everything that goes on. That is horrible for a lot of those parents. A lot of the low-income families and a lot of the minority parents. People oftentimes miss the point, and they think that for some reason schools are this non-essential thing. Oh, well, it can all be done at home. It's no big deal. Grab a laptop. Well, what if the parents don't have a laptop? What if they don't have the means to guide their children through studies? I mean, not every student or child is going to be able to learn on a computer or learn just from a book. If that was the case, then why do we have teachers? There's a such thing as good teachers and bad teachers and good books and good schools and bad schools. If they were all the same and kids would be able to learn any way they wanted to, just in the home, the same way they learn in a school, then why in the world would parents send them there in the first place? There are differences. And turning this into a stupid racial, sexist, I don't even know how any of the rest of those make any sense. It's just kind of, they went down the list of woke words to use just to say something just because they don't agree with it. At the end of the day, we should be able to have a conversation about the pros and cons of schools being open or closed without having to bring up all of these other things that have nothing to do with it whatsoever. We don't have to bring racism into every issue. But the problem is that the left always does that, don't they? Every issue has to be about race some way. Somehow they're going to find a way to inject it in there where it doesn't even belong, just to try to make an argument. That's the only way they know how to argue, is by calling you one of those names. That's the first thing that comes out of their mouth. And they do this oftentimes to shut people up, to get them to stop talking. They don't want any actual real intellectual discussions going on about any important issues. What they want is for people to be focused entirely on these words that mean nothing now. They've been overused and applied and slapped onto so many different things that they didn't need to be. That these words don't mean anything anymore. Overuse has been their own detriment. Parents should have the option to have students in school or not. If they want to have them in school, great. If they don't, that's up to them. Let them choose to have that be the case. Because not every child is equipped to deal with that, and not every parent or family is going to be able to be equipped with that either. Regardless of what happens, regardless of how the lockdowns go or all of the different policies that take place as a result of this virus, we all must remember that everyone's situation is different. Putting in an overarching umbrella policy that affects everybody and ignores the singular situations that go on is not the way that this country was ever meant to be run. Whether that's from the president or from a governor of a state or a mayor, all the way down to the low level. There's different ways and tiers that affect how policy is driven. And for us to put everything all in this big bubble and say, well, if you're a white person, you're in this big group. If you're a black person, you're in this big group. If you have a child that's in school, then this rule will apply to the poor, rich, everybody. And all of these students will just learn the same because reasons. All of this shows that individuals and the policies that are aimed at allowing individuals to do what they want makes the most sense. We must be able to have the freedom to choose what we want to do when it comes down to how we enact our policies or the practices of our own lives, to actually have personal accountability. We don't need the government to be putting things in place that takes that personal accountability away and says, well, the government will handle that. The government will tell you where you can go, where you can worship, where you can eat, if you can run your business, if you can't run your business, what regulations you need to adhere by. All of these things are not good because you can't cram down policy or ideas on people that where it doesn't apply, and keeping people from being able to be the individuals that they want to be and allowing them to have the freedom to do the things that they want to do. You just watched a clip from The William Hall Show. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe.